How's it going, guys? Old car soul, finally back to you guys with some content. Sorry I haven't been able to put nothing out. I've been trying to get things lined out so that way I can be able to give you guys more content. I am waiting on some aftermarket control arms, but I decided to make a video for you guys for all the parts that I have, because this weekend I'm going to make the video for you guys to finally put the frame together with all the suspension. Try to get some stuff cleared out of the garage, boxes and stuff of parts, put them to use so that way, you know, when the car's put together, they're going to be a lot, you know, take up a lot less space. So that way we can start working on the car rotisserie to start getting the bottom of the car lined out. So I'll start with the one of the things that I needed. Once I removed the shell from the frame, I ordered the body mounts. I got these from Rock Auto. I'll let you guys know that everything that I've ordered, everything I'm going to show you guys, I've already opened. It was just to make sure that I had everything, you know. I knew I was going to make a video, I just didn't know when. So everything's opened and just kind of looked through to make sure I had all the pieces, you know, to, you know, get everything that I paid for. And, but I haven't actually gone through everything in detail, you know, really look at the quality of anything. So that's what this will be. These, I got this from Rock Auto. I think it ran for about $240. $240 was probably like the cheapest price that I could find. There was other companies that had it for $300. I really wish that for some of these older vehicles, the Galaxies weren't very common. So some of these older vehicles, I wish they had a little bit more detail on the description of the parts. The body mounts is really just the rubber pieces. It's mainly just the rubber pieces. You know, the body mounts on mine, on the Galaxie, they had some were just pads like this that came with this metal piece that sits between. This goes inside of the frame in one of the holes. This little kind of nipple area right here in the bottom goes inside of the hole of the frame, and then this is where the actual shell sits on top of. So anything that was hardware that had to do with these mounts did not come with this kit. So that's kind of a bummer. So I pretty much came to the conclusion that I had to make my own body mounts as far as like the bolts and stuff, and just replicate what the car already had, which is really just some welding with some washers, not really much. The kit, I think, was like a 60 something piece. I'm not 100% sure, but it came with quite a bit. Pretty much anything that's a rubber piece on the car, as far as body mount or bushing or something like that, it's gonna have it. What I did was, a lot of them look the same, but they're slightly different. So what I did was I organized them by looks. Pretty much all the ones that were identical, I organized them. So here you can see this is the brand new one. This is a brand new pad right here, and this is the identical to the old one. So this is the old one, and this is the new one. As you can see, I mean, it's the new one is slightly thicker, but you can, you know, I guess accommodate that for the 60 something years that this was probably sitting on. I'm not sure if these are the original body mounts, but I'd guess so. I'm not sure, but they're identical. The quality as far as the rubber, it's pretty thick. I can't really bend it, but it is, you know, I mean, you can tell it's a soft rubber as far as it goes. Let's see. The only thing that I did notice was, like, these are the ones. This one that I'm showing you guys right now is the only one that's identical to this bushing. The only difference between these two is that this one that came on my car had this hole already, and this one does not have a hole. Now, this pad right here, it's just a pad that's between the car, so it doesn't take a bolt that goes through it like the other pads do. So I was probably just going to end up drilling that out so I can put these through it like how the factory one was. Figured it wouldn't hurt nothing. Looked like it's already drilled all the way through. Just, I don't know, maybe maybe 1/8 of an inch or something of rubber. Anyways, so all I did was separate these out by the different kinds. So they give you this kind of bushing, which is the one I just showed you guys. They give you 2, 3, 4. Let's see. Gotta have these separated out. Okay, so it looks like they give you 8 of these style ones. They have a slight little lip right here. These ones that look very similar, smaller in diameter. Hole is the same size, but no lip. These ones, there's about 12 of these. These ones have an indentation on one side and then a lip on the other. I think there's about 12 of these. And then there's 10 of these that have a bigger indentation. And I'd say about 3/8 of an inch rubber right here in the center. But same size indentation on both sides on this one. And pretty much what I did, it came with, I don't believe it did actually. I might be mistaken, I might have taken it out, but I think it just had a receipt that said, you know, Rock Auto body mount kit. It didn't say like in detail which bushing and picture detail which bushing goes to what part or nothing. So pretty much the way I have to do it is I saved all of my bushings and I kept track of where they went. So then when I go to replace them and go to mount it back, I'll just end up matching the bushings that the bushings that were on the car, I'll end up matching with the bushings in the kit. Since I'm going to be putting the suspension together this weekend, I took a look for some of the sway bar link bolts and the, shoot, what is it? Can't think of the name right now. What was it? Oh, the coil springs, the rear coil springs. There's a little bushing that goes on the top and bottom actually. There's a bolt that holds the coil. It's like a coil, like a giant coil washer that holds the coil in place. But that bolt actually has a small bushing. So I came to the bushing kit. I kept the old bushings on the bolts. I came to the bushing kit, and there's 2 sets of bushing that come in this kit. There's this one that's got the small hole, and it's kind of like flared and nippled out. And then this one that's got a bigger hole that's also got a lip kind of flared out. And I believe it was the one with the bigger hole. And it's the only thing that came off of the car that has a bushing this size. So these ones have, I think it came with 6. It came with 6, and I only need 1, 2, 3, 4. I need 4. So 2 for the top of the coils, and then 2 for the bottom of the coils. And then I figured out that the other ones, the other smaller ones, I believe go to the sway bar end links. So also the shocks. If you have your rear shocks, you could also use these for the rear shocks. There's a bushing that goes in there. Obviously, if you buy new shocks, they're probably going to come with new bushings anyway, but, you know, they're there if you need them. That's pretty much the gist of this one. I mean, it was, like I said, I was a little upset that it didn't come with any of the hardware for $240. You know, I mean, I would have liked to have gotten hardware, but, I mean, I just went to the store the other day and spent like $45, and it was like 12 bolts, so. I guess nowadays everything's kind of expensive. But especially with these classic cars, everything's kind of going up in price. But I guess I will have to end up reviewing these after, you know, a couple years or so. After once I get it back on, get at least the car weight on there, and review them after a couple years to see how they're holding up and how the quality of rubber is nowadays compared to back then. So that's the end of that one. That's just the body mount kit, body mount bushing kit. Let's see. So the next thing I want to show you guys is the control arms. I decided to go with the Hotchkis kit. Couple reasons. One, the Hotchkis kit was one of the very, very few kits that are offered for the Galaxie years for 65. One of the very few companies on the market that offer an aftermarket kit for them. I guess Jay Leno's kind of the thing for that, as far as for his Galaxie. I guess he teamed up with Hotchkis and they decided to make a kit. And the only thing is, I had a lot of trouble finding this kit. I was probably on the market for like 9 months looking for this kit, and I could not find it. I was gonna end up tearing up the whole front end and doing a Crown Vic front swap just because I couldn't find this kit. I went directly to the Hotchkis website. I had a lot of trouble after months. You know, you got the money, then you don't got the money. Had the money, went back to the website, tried to order the parts, and couldn't even, like, I tried to click on their links and their website. A lot of stuff wasn't working. So I ended up emailing them, and they said their website was under construction, and I told them I just wanted to get an estimate for the because they had a whole, like, control arms, coilovers, everything to go on the kit for the Galaxie. So I told them I wanted to bid for it, and they never responded. I don't know. Anyways, I ended up finding the kit on Summit Racing. I ended up finding it on Summit Racing, and they only had one left. One set of control arms and one set of upper control arms and one set of lower control arms. So I ended up just buying them and snatching them up. Well, I had to throw the box away for these because the box got a little bit wet before I installed my windows in my garage. But, so I had to get them, you know, out of the wet box. As far as the quality goes, I love it. I mean, I can see why people order from Hotchkis. If I'm not mistaken, it's more than eighth of an inch steel. It's at least 3/16, if not thicker. I don't have my gauge with me, but I mean, from what I can tell working in construction, it looks about 3/16, if not thicker. So very thick gauge steel. The welds, from what I can see, the welds look very, very good, man. I mean, they look, if I had to guess, I'd say a machine welded it. It looks very, very good, very high quality. You can see those welds, they look almost computerized. That gap, that distance between every lap on that weld is almost perfect. So, very good welds. High quality paint. It looks like there's some slight, you know, kind of arcing, you know, from the welding, some sparks and stuff like that, but other than that, it looks sealed and looks very high quality. The lower ball joint is serviceable, so you can re-grease it. Came with all the hardware as far as, you know, the bolts for the shock, for your shock. Look like good quality bushings that come with it. This the bushings are also serviceable, so they also came with grease zerks. Other than that, I mean, pretty good material. I think the lower control arms ran I think like 800 around there, and then the upper control arms were about 600 around there. So I mean, total it was about 1400 around there, give or take, for just the lower and upper control arms. So I mean, ball joints come with your new boot. Yeah, pretty stiff. I don't know why it's a habit I have. I get new ball joints to like see how hard it is to move it. But yeah, it looks really good. Looks very good, high quality. I like the paint on it. Looks like very hard paint. You know what I mean? Like if something were to hit it, it definitely wouldn't scratch it. So that's the lower control arms. Do still have the box for the uppers. Set these aside. Same thing, like I said, box is open just because needed to check and make sure I had all my parts when you get them. I will say that they did do a good job, the lower control arms as well. They packaged them very good. Didn't even notice them off screen over here. They packaged them very good. They put these foam inserts, so that way your parts ain't in there kind of mashing around, scratching together. They put these foam inserts, so that way they kind of just, you know, they're kind of resting on the foam rather than resting on each other. They ain't clinking around in there when they're being shipped to you. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like a little kid on Christmas when I get new parts. I can't wait to put these on the core. So these are supposed to be geometry corrected. I guess kind of the geometry of the older 60s cars at that time with Ford. I mean, not necessarily Ford, it might be the other cars too, but I do know that the Galaxie was one of the first cars that had a 4-link rear end suspension system. It was one of the first cars, if not the first. I'm not sure though, but I know it was definitely one of the first cars to kind of experiment with the 4-link suspension that we still use today on some modern 4-wheel drive cars. So I guess these are more, they kind of corrected that. You mean the geometry of the arm that it needs to be in to have better steering and stuff like that. One thing I noticed right off the bat looking at the part, I like how they kind of lasered the Hotchkis logo right here on this plate. It's kind of hard to see because I got a black t-shirt, but If you see right here in the background, you see they etched that in there. And that's kind of cool. I like that. I think I remember seeing the Jay Leno video, and that's like one of the things you can tell like right off the bat when they're showing the car and they're building it. That's like the first thing you kind of see in the suspension. So as far as the quality goes, it's the same as the lower control arms, man. It's good welds. This plate right here, to be honest, looks like it might have used a little bit thicker steel than the plating for the lower control arms. But, I mean, I could be mistaken. Maybe they added another layer of paint or something. It looks slightly thicker to me. But definitely doesn't feel flimsy or nothing like that. Feels like very good steel. And honestly say I'm up to this point till, you know, we put some horsepower behind these wheels. I'm pretty satisfied with what I paid for and the quality of what it looks like. Looks pretty good. Another company that offers control arms that look, from what I could see, very identical to these is PMT. PMT offers a kit also, and they're also one of the only companies that offer something for the Galaxie. They have a lot of reviews. I can't speak on the quality of their stuff. I did order the rear control arm kit from them, so when it comes in the mail, it's on the way. So when it comes in the mail, I'll do another video to show you guys. But I know they offer a control arm kit that pretty much looks almost identical to these Hotchkis arms. The only difference is they say PMT, but they look absolutely identical to these. As far as in the pictures, I can't speak if the welds look the same because I've never seen their parts up close. I will be reviewing their PMT rear control arm for the Galaxie as well when I get those. But they also offer control arms lower and upper and lower for the Galaxie 65, and I think they offer it all the way up to like the 70s. And I think they also have a kit for the 60 to 64 Galaxies as well. But yeah,
we'll try it again.
Looks good. I'm very happy with it. And the only thing that I was a little upset about was, from what I remember, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but when I first originally looked this kit up on Hotchkis, when I first got my car before, you know, had any money or any planning in under the belt, I recall this kit coming with all the hardware on Hotchkis. On Summit, it didn't say anything about coming with hardware, so it didn't come with any hardware. So you need the bolts to go here, that kind of bolt there onto your frame. I guess it does. It comes with the hardware that bolts the ball joint, you know, your cotter pin and stuff like that. But so I mean, you're gonna have to source out these two bolts or reuse your stock ones. I still have the stock ones here, so I'm probably just gonna end up reusing these. I couldn't really find any. Definitely not gonna find a nut like this, and I couldn't really find any bolts this same style. But I mean, maybe I didn't look hard enough. But for now, we're just gonna bolt them up with these. I'm just gonna clean up the threads and kind of give them a nice little black coat of paint. For now, I did have to source out new bolts for the lower control arms. I have gotten those too. Let me pop this open. Those, I just took the bolt that was used for the lower control arm, and then just matched it. Just went to the store, matched the bolt the same size. You know, grade 8 bolts. and I got locking washers. When I took those lower control arms off, they did not have lock nuts on them or locking washers. So, not saying that they're supposed to. I'm not sure if they are, but I figured it made me feel better if I got control arms with lock washers on them. Or lock nuts. Especially if I plan on driving high-spirited. So, that's that. Let's see. I have the rear springs. So, the lower control arms and upper control arms were ordered from Summit Racing, and those got here pretty quick. They didn't take long. They were 3 days. They came within 3 days. They were here. These are the rear coils. Like I said, it's a four link rear suspension, so you got 2 coils, very similar to a 4x4 setup. You got 2 coils, and then nowadays you'll have 2 lower control arms and 2 upper control arms, and then you'll have a panhard bar that goes from one end of the rear end across, kind of in a diagonal at an angle, and that just kind of keeps your rear end from kind of swaying. These rear coils, I ordered these also from Rock Auto. These were, man, I cannot remember what the price of these coils was, to be honest. I would have to look it up. I want to say they were maybe $100. I think they were like 120. I could be wrong though. I want to say they were even less. I'm not sure though. I don't know if they're designated between left and right. I don't believe so. I looked at them and they look to be almost the exact same height. It said on Rock Auto, these were the only ones that they offered for the Galaxie on Rock Auto. It said they were heavy, more of a heavy duty rating compared to factory. I'm not sure. Now that I'm looking at it, one does look slightly taller. Maybe. Well, they look pretty good, you know. Look like a spring. I wouldn't say the paint on them is the best. They're from Rock Auto, so I did get decent, I believe decent coilovers, but as far as the shock goes, I couldn't really find anything aftermarket for the shocks, but just from kind of mocking them up on the rear end, they've already kind of like chipped a little bit or scratched a little bit here and there. So they look good though. We'll have to see how they feel once they're on the car. And then these are the kind of the washers that I was saying that kind of go with them. And these ones kind of show you how they go here. So that kind of sits in there, just like that. And then bolts here on the top side of the frame, and then the bottom part bolts on the rear end. I bought new pads for the springs. I believe a set of these I bought from eBay, and then I had bought a set of these also from Rock Auto. And as far as the quality goes, they look the same, but we'll have to wait and see. Moving on to my favorite. Next we have last. Here, all this stuff I really kind of just looked at to make sure I had it, but didn't really pay attention in big detail. And this stuff I kind of just counted my stuff and then kind of polished it off. I didn't really. Coilovers. We got coilovers. We got coilovers from Viking. There were several companies that offered coilovers for the Galaxie. I could have just gone with stock suspension, but I mean, I didn't see the justice in putting a modern drivetrain with still classic suspension. So the rear, the front and rear will be adjustable. These are the rears. These are the rears. I had got these. I ordered these on eBay. I don't think I've even visited the actual Viking website. I just found these on eBay. These were one of the few options that came up when I just looked up, coilovers for a 65 Ford Galaxie. These are one of the few options that came up. There's a couple other companies that offer some coilover systems, but I think for the overall price of what I'm paying to what I'm getting, I decided to go with these because they just fit my budget. Pretty much these, I paid $1,100 for the front and rear coilovers that came with everything I needed, all the hardware, all the bushings and everything. I paid $1,100 for these, and I get I get the front coilovers and the rear adjustable shocks. And most of the other kits were pretty much just the front coilovers, $1,100 or $1,400, $1,500, give or take. And then, the rear ones were like another $800 separate. So I was looking at closer to $2,000 or more than $2,000 just for, the other companies. And, I figured I'm always the type of person to not get like the best product. I get like more of a medium grade product. So that way, if I miss out, it's not too hard on the bank, I guess, But I can't say, hey, I bought something crappy and it's just kind of money down the drain. I'd rather have something mid perform, for a mid price, I guess. Well, right off the bat, these are very, very nice. They look like I believe they're aluminum. I believe the body's all aluminum. They're dual adjustable. They feel very, very very good. I like them. Let's see. There we go. There we go. A lot softer. Oh, that's harsh. Let's see. Turn that down. actually. So let's see. I believe you have the adjustability for. I don't know why my mind's going blank here now for all of a sudden. There you go, compression. That's the word I was looking for. Compression. You got one knob that has for compression, and then the other one for rebound. Your compression is going to be how hard the shock how hard the shock compresses, and then your rebound is how fast it comes back. So how fast it comes right back out after receiving the punishment of the bump. So your bump, when you hit a bump, and then it rebounds after the bump. So you can kind of play around with it. I've seen that a lot of people kind of struggle with it. I guess I'll find out when I get there. I don't think I'll be able to drive my car for a while. Once I get the suspension, I don't think I'll be able to drive it for a while or test drive it or anything like that. But I know there's several videos of a lot of people that offer tutorials on how to adjust your adjustable shocks or your coilovers. Just to kind of tune it in, see how you like it. So I can see, I wonder what that's for. Whoa. So each shock, as far as the rear shocks, come with these two sleeves. One is thicker than the other, so one's going to be able to fit a thicker diameter bolt than the other, but they are both the same diameter, which I assume is to go through here for this bushing, and that's where your bolt goes through, that bolts through for your bottom mount for the bushing or for the shock. And I believe one nut's going to be for your bottom mount, and then the other nut's going to be for the top mount of the shock. It also comes with the bushings for the top mount, bushings, and it comes with the washers for the bushings. So two sleeves, I imagine, in case you got maybe a different size bolt. Not sure. Maybe, just gives a convenience to the customer. You got a different size bolt, you got two different size sleeves, just in case. You know how it is. So yeah, I mean, they look very good quality. This bushing feels kind of like a polyurethane bushing. Definitely hard, not a rubber. I like the shock. It looks good. It's solid aluminum, so you ain't got to worry about it, ever rusting or anything like that. Oh yeah, you see that? See how it gets easier? So look, pull it out. So I'll turn up the compression. So that makes the compression harder. It makes it compress a lot harder. So it's gonna be, I imagine you're gonna have this compression on a very stiff. If you're like drag racing, you want that torque. You want it to be able to rebound the car and keep the car from torquing as least as possible. So see right there, I can't even push it down. But if I turn the compression down, as I turn it down, see, it gets easier and it starts compressing even faster. So that's cool. So just to show you how you can kind of play with it a little bit and really customize your ride to how you want it to feel. If you want the, you know, if you like your back to be stiff and then your front to be kind of spongy, you can turn it like that if you want it. So those are the rear ones. And this all came, like everything kind of comes in its own separate individual box. Like these rear shocks, this is a box. Each came with their own 2 papers, their own 2 baggies of materials. And then the shock itself is wrapped in cardboard, or in paper. Wrapped in paper. And to be honest, it was kind of hard for me to make the decision to buy these because I couldn't find a lot of reviews. I could not find a lot of reviews on Viking, and I can't remember. Can't remember if I actually went to their actual website, but or maybe I didn't find it, or maybe it's kind of like, I think it was one of those websites that's not very, you know, detailed. It's just kind of like, this is the company, this is who we are, but it's like kind of even hard to even find out like where to order. Maybe, I'm not 100% sure. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. So, but I like it. The quality of their work, it looks good. Well, what I was getting at was I couldn't find reviews, but now I'm starting to see a lot of channels I watch on YouTube and stuff. A lot of builds they use a lot of Viking performance. So, you know, and I've kind of asked here and they're like, hey, how do you like those? And they're like, hey man, we've always used Viking and it's a pretty good product. Their stuff's good. So, you know, just kind of backing up, you know, my purchase and kind of making me feel good that I kind of took that leap of faith and just went ahead and bought them anyway. Even though partially, you know, the price was kind of one of the reasons, but I guess when we're working on cars, usually the price always comes into play. So these are the front ones, and the fronts are coilovers, so there's a coilover conversion. The 65 Galaxie they kind of redid the whole front end suspension. The shock goes mounted to the lower control arm, and then mounts in I think it mounts inside of the frame. Yeah, it mounts inside of the frame, kind of. The part of the frame that the upper control arm kind of bolts to, it's kind of like a cup area, and then inside of there is where the shock actually bolts to. So, and then the spring sits, the coil sits around the shock all the way up into that same cup area. So, if I'm not mistaken, so this is the front coilover, a little bit smaller. Okay, so this is a little different. So this is the front coilover. It comes with that same, I guess I didn't mention it, but the rear shock, the 2 nuts that it came with, one was slightly thinner than the other. And I think the thinner one was the one for the top of the shock mount. And then the thicker one was going to be for your bolt that goes to the lower mount. So it comes with these. It comes with your 2 bolts that bolt the bottom of the shock mount, because this shock mount is slightly different. It's more of a, you can see here. Comes with these snap rings. Comes with your 2 bolts, and your lock nuts. It comes with 2 other snap rings that are a little bit smaller in diameter. Now, I'm not sure what these smaller snap rings are for, but from what I can tell, it looks to match the snap ring on the top. I'm not gonna mess with it. Kind of holds this this O-ring right here from falling out. But so it comes with this. It's not a polyurethane. It's kind of like a, I don't know how to explain it. Looks kind of like a bearing, but it kind of, as you can see, it kind of swivels. Kind of swivels a little bit in there. Kind of like a shoulder socket, you know, or a ball bearing, I guess. So I assume this is gonna go in here. Like so. That look like that's machined. Yep. Perfectly in there. So that goes in there like that. And these bigger snap rings go in here on each side. Very similar, I assume, to how you do like piston rods that just have the snap ring. So that's what those be for. Wonder why they would give you new rings for this upper one. Not sure. They also come with the rubber bushings for the top mount. So, and these also, same thing, dual adjustable. Got the compression. Well, yeah, I like them. So, what else comes with this that separates this from the rear? Is the coilover conversion of the shock. So, comes with these two. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think these are the little bearings. See those little bearings right there? I'm pretty sure you have to put a special type of grease. I'll have to look at the specifications, but pretty sure you put a small amount of grease. See, so that those bearings kind of just allow them to kind of spin around on each other. Your coil is what's going to sit on top. I might have this wrong. I have to look at the instructions, so that might not be the correct way for those two nuts to go on there. See, it says on there, it says anti-seize must be applied to the shock threads before adjusting ride height. Failure to do so will damage the shock and void your warranty. So anti-seize is going to kind of help, you know, be able to spin on those threads. See, so I did have this wrong, so that doesn't even go on there. Sandwich like that. So this comes up. So it'll be this one, the thinner one that goes on bottom. Shoulder up and just bring that. So that one will go there. This one goes on top. If the Viking thrust bearing kit is used, it's recommended coat both washers with anti-seize. Install the spring seat washer, then the bearing, then the second washer. If you do not use the thrust bearing kit, then coat one side of the washer supplied with the shock with anti-seize and place it coated side down on the spring nuts. So, then comes, they also came inner wrenches to adjust. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I've never used one of these things before, but see this one. Better be two different wrenches. Okay, see, there we go. I was about to say. Oh, okay. Oh, this one's probably for the lower one. See, now, why would they do that? Okay, so you get two wrenches because maybe I guess you don't get confused, maybe. So one is for the lower one. The teeth line up perfectly with it. It's for the lower one. And then the other one is for the upper one. I mean, you need two wrenches, I guess, to tighten it up when you adjust it. Raise it, lower it, whatever, and then, you know, the bottom one kind of tightens the top one in place. So you need two, but I just don't see why they did two different keys two different key patterns, because the patterns are different. So I can't use this one on the lower one, and I can't use the lower one on the upper one. So just something I noticed. So I recommend you to use this bearing kit, and the bearing kit goes right over the upper one that has the sleeve, and on top of that, this is all kind of packaged. All of it came in one box. So I'll kind of show you how it's packaged here real quick. So the coils were kind of packaged at the bottom with this paper kind of in the middle to cushion them, and then the shocks, the front and the rear shocks were kind of all just like in there, so paper in the middle, and it was packaged in there real nice and tight. Practically, you know, physically impossible for anything to really move around in there. So now we have our coil. Our coil that goes. So it's just a coil spring, and this is gonna go on your shock to create a coilover conversion. So building this, once you put your anti-seize on both sides of these washers the way the factory recommends you, the manufacturer recommends you to, your coil will go on top and seat just like that. It literally has, I mean, I'm not, I don't believe there's a cushion that goes in between here. I don't think so, because then that'd kind of make it hard for this bushing to turn. I do know there is a coil pad, and I have them here because I ordered those. That goes here, and that's going to go where this goes mounted. Where this goes mounted on the frame. There's a cushioning pad right here. That'll be these, and I got these from somebody on eBay. They had plenty of parts, kind of, you know, random classic car parts, but you know, hey, sometimes just takes being that one random guy to be the one that make the money. So that goes on there, and you'll have to compress your spring to kind of get it in there, because you got to get this bolted in. So you got to compress this spring in order to get this thing bolted in. Well, I guess we could oh, there we go. Shoot, cheat code. I think we'll be able to bolt it in like that. So I like it, man. I'm really excited to. So if you wanted to adjust your coilovers, I really don't want to spin it too much, because it's kind of bad for those bearings if they don't have like no grease on them. But see if I can kind of just ease this weight off a little bit, so I can kind of show you guys. So just pretend I'm unlocking this. Let's say you want to adjust your coils. Say you want to adjust it a little bit. The more you compress your spring, I believe the harsher your ride is going to be. So so I'm no expert on this, so don't take my advice like for don't take my advice as a professional's advice. But you're gonna twist the bottom one and kind of away from it, so unlocking it, and then you'll be able to adjust the upper one. You want to raise your coil, it'll kind of stiffen up your ride, because obviously the more you compress the spring, the less room the spring has to compress. So I imagine the more you compress the spring, the harsher it's going to feel. So if you want a harsher ride, or if you want to just raise your spring for whatever reason, you just raise it, and then you just bring this bottom one back up, and kind of, that's where you use your spanner, your wrenches, kind of lock them together. So we will be coming at you guys with the video to be putting together this frame. I'm excited. Can't wait. And stay tuned, you guys. Make sure you guys comment, you like, you subscribe. Any recommendations for the channel, just let me know, and you know, if I can accommodate, I will. Hope you guys enjoy this video. I'll leave you guys links to pretty much all the products. If there's a product that I don't include, just, you know, kind of comment, and you know, I'll make sure to put it in there. I don't think, yeah, I mean, I'll put all the links down below in the comments and stuff like that for everything, so that way you guys have them, and we'll be on to the next build after this car. So hopefully we get to moving on this build now, once we get a lot of these parts out of the way in the garage, make some room. So they got their logo. I didn't even notice that they got their logo kind of etched in there on their springs, so that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, these springs look they look way better quality than like the Rock Auto springs that I ordered for the rear coils. These springs look way better quality. I believe I got, I want to say 550 springs rated. I believe they're 550. I know a lot of it has to do with, you know, what engine you're running and stuff like that. They had 450 springs, 550, and then I think they had 650. I know I wasn't going to have no big block. I'm doing a Coyote swap, and I think the Coyote was rated to be like right around like maybe 500 pounds, I think, with everything. But I just went with the 550. You know, I have a big bodied old classic car. I figured, you know, the holding up the weight of the front end too. I think 550. I was in the middle. So like I said, I always go kind of in the middle, give or take. I didn't have a way of weighing the front of my car, nothing like that. So I just went with the middle with what I thought. I kind of looked up what the Coyote would weigh, you know, with my transmission. You know what I mean, if I was doing anything else extensive to the front. So I went with the 550 springs, and you know, hopefully they're good for my application. I guess I could have maybe called, you know what I mean, somebody at Viking, and maybe they could have helped me, but you know, sometimes you're just excited to order stuff, you just want to kind of get it. But I'll let you guys know. So we'll be getting this frame put together, and we'll be coming at you guys with that video, so stay tuned. Thank you guys. Old Car Soul out. Hey guys, coming at you guys with another video. My control arm just came in from PMT. Unfortunately, for some reason, they put it in 2 different shipments, so we're gonna see what they put in here. I'm pretty sure the only thing that's gonna be separate is gonna be the rear sway bar. This is a lot bigger. Mama, how do I turn this around?
You probably know, yeah.
Still don't.
Give me the ones that you got done already, Mama. You saw the ones you got done?
what we got. And PMT has several different options. They don't just have one option. They do offer black or red, and then they also have just like their own customized set of control arms with poly bushings, and then they have a set of like adjustable ones too, so they have different ones though. Let me get some of this stuff open. Okay guys, I got everything wrapped up and opened, and everything looks good. Everything came in its own individual wrap, kind of wrapped over 2-3 times, taped up, so that way your parts ain't like clinking around, you know what I mean, scratching each other up. Everything's packaged in there real good. Welds look good. Yeah, the welds look really good craftsmanship. Better than mine, so I can't complain. Yeah, they look good. So the kit that I ordered, it just depends on whether you get like your adjustable ones. See how each arm has adjustability, so you can, you know what I mean, extend them out if you want. That way you can kind of tune your rear end the way you want it. This one goes on that pan-hard arm, and that goes with it. On the stock one, it doesn't have no adjustability, so well, that's nice. And it also came with hardware. To be honest, there's only 4 bolts, so I assume it's the hardware for just the lower control arms, if it is. I don't know why they supply bolts for just the lower control arms. I guess it's better than I was expecting, because on the post for the kit, it doesn't say that it has hardware, which they should probably change if it does have hardware, because I had just assumed I was gonna have to source out some bolts. I don't believe it said it had bolts. I thought their website was a little difficult kind of to manage, or to kind of like shop around on. These holes right here are what the rear sway bar will actually bolt to. But overall I'm happy with it, guys. It looks really good.
In the cabinet right there next to the sink.
And to be honest,
underneath the coffee
these
pot.
bushings that they have, they don't feel like a polyurethane bushing. They feel more like a rubber-based bushing. It's definitely firmer than a rubber, but it doesn't feel plastic either, like a regular polyurethane bushing. But they put it in 2 separate ones, so I imagine the rear sway bar is gonna be what's coming in the second package. So when that comes in, I'll let you guys check it out. And as soon as that comes in, I'll be making a video to put together this frame and suspension. Till the next one, I'll catch you guys later.